Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As always, thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it. It's been a little while and I actually cannot believe how we're already in March, but alas, it's how she goes. The time is going by fast, but I wanted to come in here once again to tell you how it's going so far in 2025, because it is going pretty much the same, I guess, as my 2024 situation setup. So as you can see, the only thing I've really changed from the front cover is that I changed it from 2024 to 2025, so that's there. And I've been using this clip, usually hangs out in my painting notebook, but I've been keeping it here just because it is much needed to keep my papers open. Let me pull these to the side. And it looks really sweet with both of the clips there, so I like it. And then the main thing that I've changed on the inside really is just changing up the decorations, I guess, so that I can feel a bit more fresh and exciting for the new year. So same as always, when you open it, this is the same. This page is the same. My little tiny times is here still. My writing board, I always clip it back here, and I make sure to keep the grid on this side because I hate the design of controversial, but I cannot stand this design. I think it sucks. And Love & Trip makes me think that people are doing drugs. Like, this gives me like acid, LSD. And I hate it. I don't like it at all. But I like this. This looks nice, so it stays like that. This is pretty much the same. My dots, my stars. And then I think this is slightly different. I print a lot of photos all the time and I don't always know where to put them or a safe place to put them. So in here I have my photo corners to when I want to stick photos in my journal in a way that won't damage the actual image. I have my template size so that if I'm doing a spread, I know the size of the typical photo that I print. And then I have some photos that I've printed that I want to add to my journal at some point. I just haven't decided exactly where it's going to go. So this is nice to know I have a dedicated spot to put these things right here, and they're safe in that pocket. Okay, and then I didn't show this last time. I showed my little journal tour, because I oftentimes only use this insert when I'm traveling or when I'm journaling outside of my home, because it does add a bit of bulk. But lately I've just been keeping it here because I think it's lovely. I sometimes will have a bank card. I have some washi tape cards of some of my favorite washi tapes, so that's in here. I also have these if you saw my previous journaling video, these were here, but I've since moved them in here because I don't use them that often. These are kind of like my emergency sticky tabs if I'm reading and I didn't bring anything to tab with. And then in here are just little double-sided tape. These originally came with a Hobonichi double-sided tape, but once I ran out of them, I saved the little sticker papers. And I just have a roll of double-sided tape. I'll grab it. I have just double-sided tape in rolls. One's very thin and one's a bit thicker. And I just cut them and tape them in here. Because it's much more economical than buying the pre-cut Traveler's Notebook ones or the Hobonichi ones. And I can determine if I want thicker or thinner ones. The Hobonichi one, I have it here, but I never use it. But I pulled it out just for you guys to know. It originally comes in this little thing. And if you can kind of imagine by the colors on my desk and in my journal, these are not my colors, so I don't use this. I immediately like took them out. Actually, for a while I had washi taped the entire thing so that I can see the blue and purple situation. So now I just keep them in this red one because it looks much nicer, in my opinion, for my palette and aesthetic. So that stays there. And again, this is quite bare bones at the moment because, like I said, I mainly use it when I'm on the go and I want to add more stickers or ephemera or things of that sort, but otherwise kind of hangs out empty. I changed my photos in here, and I also figured out that if I put a little clip here, it helps it from not moving around as much. These are just different photos from when I was solo backpacking many moons ago now, even though it still kind of feels like yesterday. And these are photos that mean a lot to me because I can remember exactly where they are and how I felt, what I was experiencing. So it feels very inspiring to have these first thing when I open my journal. And I also made this one, which are different places in London, different photos I've taken in London. If you don't know this about me, I love London with my whole heart. I hope to live there one day. So I really wanted to make an entire photo strip dedicated to that. I don't know, manifesting and whatnot. But for now, I've been leaving this one because I really like the colors and how it looks with my brass ruler. And it's just so stunning and it brings me eternal joy. Okay, moving forward, this may not look familiar, but that's just because it's the weekly, the one I always use. It's like the undated weekly plus memo in Traveler's Notebook insert, but I wrapped it in this beautiful paper because I didn't really want to use the same, like I didn't want it to look the exact same as it did last year because last year I did not wrap it. I left it its usual bold green color, but this year I decided to do otherwise. This is the name of the insert. It's a refill free diary weekly plus memo is what this book is, but it just looks so stunning this way and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. And then on the inside, the setup is the exact same. This insert only goes from January to June of 2025. My first page is my guest book or yearbook, however you want to call it. As these 6 months progress, I will get my friends and loved ones that I'm with to write a little note to me in here. And then I know who made up all of these years when I look back on them. This next page is my monthly highlights. And these are kind of monthly highlights that have to do with like things I've done with my friends, my partner, you know, more like social highlights, I guess. Whereas the next one is more personal highlights. So that goes there. And this brings me so much joy. I think this might be one of my favorite things that I've been doing since last year in this journal. I think it's genius and I'm very proud of myself for kind of figuring out that this is how I wanted to use these pages. So that's been the same as last year. And then my pages are also the same as last year. If you don't know this yet, if you didn't watch my previous video, it kind of just goes, I do little snippets of each day on this side, and if there are thoughts that need to be carried onto the other side, they get carried over. My gold stars are always there to kind of signify standout days. So visually, I can spot them very easily when I'm doing a quick flip through. I track very simple things on this side. I just do yoga, movement, and socializing. And then at the bottom, I have my week's entertainment. So what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, and what I'm watching. Oops, there we go. So very simple. I sometimes keep track of the weather, not always, just depends on what I'm feeling. I like to put in a lot of photos, different stickers that will also jog my memory. And then oftentimes I will write quotes in this space here, but if there's not a quote that comes to mind, that's okay. I can, there's no pressure. Whatever feels right. Again, for some of you, this might just be a recap, but my system is the same. It is working. It continues to work, and I love it so much. If I go back to these brown dots signify that I've expanded on this day in my second insert, which is my diary insert or my long form insert. So again, it just kind of tells me just from looking at this that there's more to be said in this insert, okay? And again, it's just very easy for me to keep track of these things. So speaking of, we can move on to this one here. Okay, I also have my 2024 ones just for reference. So this is what I was talking about, the green ones. I didn't want it to look the exact same this year, even though I think the gold foil that I put on these is so darling, but I just wanted it to look significantly different. And I think wrapping the notebook really did achieve that. And then one thing that's different, so I did, the same thing. And then the difference in this one though, is that in my diary, I definitely had some really personal entries that I would end up kind of doing these little privacy window hinges on them. Not even for YouTube's sake, but for my own sake, because some of those entries are really, really heavy. So what I decided for this year is to have a separate journal for those really heavy entries, or perhaps like the less filtered, less polished, just need to get my thoughts out in order to move through them kind of journal. And that's just a very simple Midori notebook. That's just this one right here. I will not be showing it to you, but I have the protective cover on it, and then I printed Joan Didion's On Keeping a Notebook essay and wrapped the notebook with it. And I think it looks so stunning, and it's just the perfect notebook cover. On Keeping a Notebook on my notebook. So these are kind of like the heavy thoughts, and that way I can flip through my diary without worrying about too much heaviness. I'm sure there will eventually be some heaviness, but just not too much. And then it's the same thing, diary, and then I do January so that I kind of know, although I haven't filled it out properly, but usually I have kind of like the dates and then the titles of each entry so I know what I'm writing about. And yeah, I've been adding definitely more images, more stickers, more fun titles. This one in particular is so special to me. It's kind of a long story, but in Mexico we celebrate the Three Wise Men Day, which is not very common in Canada, but my partner knows all about it. He's always very supportive of celebrating the Three Wise Men Day, and I don't have a line squeezer, which as a Mexican is kind of sinful, and I should definitely have one. So he gifted me one from the Three Wise Men. And anyway, it's a whole story, but it was so sweet. And I imported an image onto my Procreate on my iPad, and I doodled above it and created this because I didn't have a relevant sticker. And then we also doodled this one, some cinnamon buns we ate, hockey tickets that we went to, even wrapping from food we've eaten. I'm going to cover this one here because it's kind of an embarrassing selfie. This is so beautiful, and I love this image so much. I titled it Gentle Saturday, and it was just a me day, and then at the very end my partner joined me, and it was just a perfect Saturday. So that's there as well. An entire entry for baby girl because, of course, if you know, babe. Another doodle that I did of my La Roche-Posay Cicaplast Balm because my acne has been very angry with me lately. An empty spread that I have not found the time to come back and write about, but this is also the wrong date. This was about a little Galentine's I hosted at my home, and it was such a sweet, wonderful day. This was a date day I had with my partner. More entries, very joyous. Pasta night that we had, a receipt from a dinner date, and a photo of the meals we ate. And that's it. This is actually something that I'm about to write about. What a sentence. Anyway, this is from a couple days ago. I just haven't gotten around to doing this entry. And the main reason why I like this setup is because I don't always have lots to say about my days. I find this setup so satisfying, and I can fit so many things that I always end up feeling really, really satisfied with these weekly entries, that sometimes I just don't feel the need to write more than that. But knowing that I do have that space if and when I need it is really wonderful, especially if I know it's not dated, so there's no pressure of forcing myself to write when I don't have anything to say. I hate that. I don't want that. I just want my journaling to be there for me. I don't need to, just journal because there's a date that forces me to do so. That's not why I love to journal. So yeah, there's really no pressure. I typically end up doing like maybe 7 to 10 days per month, approximately. And it works phenomenally for me. And yeah, the back, again, right now it's quite bare bones because I was just journaling in here, but usually I'll have like the stickers that I'm using most often, just there accessible. I said this last time, my stamps because I love sending letters, and then more space for storage, for stickers, all of the good things. And yeah, that's honestly it. I'm really grateful to still feel so comfortable and at peace with my journaling system. I really think it is the perfect thing for me, and I'm so grateful to have this in my life, this specific setup in my life, because it feels like my ride or die at this point. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and give everyone a little update, and perhaps just take a moment to say that I do find sometimes when I'm watching other journaling content on the internet that it is very hard to not compare yourself to either the other journals that people are using, whether it's a Hobonichi or a Filofax or whatever it may be, and just knowing like what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And yeah, not comparing myself and feeling that like I'm missing out on something because I'm seeing it a lot on the internet. This works for me. This brings me a lot of joy. I can celebrate the other systems that people are using and appreciate how beautiful and stunning they look, but not letting that take away from the beauty that I find within the system that I like and that I use. Okay, that's it, because I've been watching a lot of videos about people feeling really overwhelmed with their journals, and I hope that you don't need to use a traveler's notebook if you don't want to, or if you don't have one. Just make it, be what you need it to be, regardless of what type of journal it is. It's just a piece of paper, and it's just a way for us to write our thoughts and feelings down, our memories, and I hope that this is a good reminder of that. Okay, I'm gonna go. I have another video coming out soon that I'm really excited about, so I will see you when that's out. And yeah, I will see you when I see you. Bye! Mwah!